In a world brimming with complexity, few creatures embody harmony like the honeybee. With tireless precision, she dances from bloom to bloom, each motion guided by millennia upon millennia of instinct, each act in service to the whole. And then there are the beekeepers, watchful stewards of this ancient symbiosis. Part agri-scientist, part poet, they move along their hives with the efficiency of Moe, Larry, and Curly, tending to the bees' needs as best they can comprehend, and with the infrequency of a waterfall in the Sahara, sometimes running off, flapping and flailing like a penguin on a hot sidewalk. This is their journey.
Welcome to Bee Love Beekeeping, presented by our good friends and partners in beekeeping, Mann Lake. Today we're going all the way to Romania for the first in our series about everything apitherapy. Our guest is the world's leading authority on apitherapy, Dr. Ștefan Stangaciu, MD. If you've ever wanted to learn more about the healing properties and benefits of honey, propolis, bee venom, pollen, royal jelly, even bee air, and more, I think you'll really enjoy hearing from Dr. Stefan. He and I could have talked for hours and hours, but we tried to keep it succinct enough to fit into 2 or 3 episodes. In part 1 today, we dig deep into the healing benefits of propolis and also learn the best way to extract honey for medicinal and health purposes. First, I've just got to mention this lanternfly honey that's all the buzz right now. One person described it as, instead of the gentle, sweet taste of regular honey, it's more like your grandparents' cough drops. This dark, reddish, mysterious honey has been described by a professional taster as having notes of smoky, savory, salty, resinous, and lightly fruity. Some people absolutely love it, some just think it's weird, but no, really the weird part is how it's made. You see, lanternflies secrete a sticky, sugary substance after slurping on tree sap in late summer and fall. That secretion, also known as poop, is sucked up by honeybees, taken back to their hives, and treated like nectar, eventually becoming honey, lanternfly honey. So, if you're offered some new lanternfly honey, at least now you'll know what you're putting in your mouth. I am unbelievably excited today because we have a guest. You all know that I'm interested in apitherapy, and we have today who I think is the world's foremost authority on apitherapy. And he is over in Romania. Dr. Ștefan Stangaciu, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here.
And I paused because I wanted to make sure I pronounced your name properly. Did I get close?
You are very good, very good, very good.
Thank you so much. Hey, before we jump into the down and dirty of really what apitherapy is, give us a little bit of your background so people realize your qualifications both in the medical field and you're a beekeeper too.
Okay, yes. So I'm a medical doctor. I'm a specialist in family medicine, and I have also what are called like over specializations in acupuncture and apiphyto aromatherapy. So apitherapy is the bee products for health, phytotherapy is like herbal medicine, and aromatherapy everybody knows. And I discovered the bees in 1991 when I heard about beekeepers having unbelievable healing successes, beekeepers who were not medical doctors, and still they got excellent results. So I spoke with these people, and I say, wow, it's very interesting. So if a normal person, a beekeeper, can heal better than the doctors certain diseases, I said, this is something very interesting, so I need to study. So I went to Bucharest. In Bucharest, it were at the time 2 big libraries on beekeeping, but also with a lot of articles and books on apitherapy. And this was in 1991. I studied 1 summer long all these books. I copied, photocopied everything I could. And then I started to put all this information in a nice order according to traditional Chinese medicine, because I studied already before that traditional Chinese medicine. And the Chinese medicine has a kind of thinking which is very interesting. It's kind of a mnemonic method, like yin and yang, the 5 elements. And then when you have in front of your eyes these symbols, they are like filters helping you to diagnose and also to establish a treatment. So after 1991, after I started to treat my own patients with apitherapy, at the beginning I made mistakes. For example, some of the patients, I put too many bee stings too soon, not detoxing the body, not taking all the other measures. So 6-7 patients have had allergic reactions. Fortunately, it were not big allergic reactions, but still was uncomfortable. So step by step I learned, and then I started to give lectures in other countries. And my strategy, if you want, I was giving books or articles or knowledge, and in exchange I've got other knowledge on other books and other journals and so on from the people I was visiting. So now we have in Romania one of the best apitherapy databases in the world. I am now the president of the International Federation of Apitherapy. I was 20 years president of the German Apitherapy Society, and I organized there over 20 international events with speakers from all over the world. And I'm also president of the Romanian Apitherapy, Phytotherapy, and Aromatherapy Society. So I'm telling you this just to tell you that there are so many people in apitherapy all over the world. So I calculated over 100,000 apitherapy practitioners in almost every country, except Antarctica. In every country where there are bees, there are also apitherapy practitioners. During all these years, of course, I refined step by step my treatment protocols, my thinking, and what is amazing, every day I learn new things. So it's unbelievable. It's the topic is really huge, because the bees are living beings. The bee colony, it's extremely complex, and we learn a lot from them.
Wow, the topic is huge, and so I hardly know where to start because there's so much to cover. I'm tempted to keep you here longer than we earlier agreed to have 2 sessions come out of this, but we'll see how it goes. Give us an overall idea. A lot of us have heard of bee sting therapy. Some of us have even messed around with it a little bit, but I know that you have experience with other hive products. Tell us everything from the beehive that you use, and I'm guessing it's everything.
Yes, you are right. It's everything. And most people, they know about honey. And also one other thing, unfortunately, most beekeepers, they focus in the production only to honey. And this is a huge miss opportunity, because I give you just a short explanation here. If you look, the health is more important than food, than nutrition. Yeah. So categorically is more important than health. As for the beekeeper who wants to survive on the market because of the prices and so on, the idea to sell his honey as a food is a bad idea. Because if you look to the health element, the honey is very, very important for the healing properties, like antioxidant, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and so on, because it contains several groups of substances, and one of the most important is the one on polyphenols. Now, in the pollen, you find like 50 times more polyphenols than in honey, and in propolis, you find like 200 times more. So if you want to have healing effects, pollen, bee bread, propolis are much more important than honey. The price is that the sales of the beekeeper, when they go on these other products, can give to the beekeeper enough amount of money to be able to survive, and not only to survive, to go to higher levels, like to open, for example, we'll discuss maybe later, a bee house for beehive air therapy. Okay, now, this was a short introduction. There are some other mistakes the beekeepers are doing, for example, centrifugation. The honey centrifugation, from the apitherapy point of view, it's also a mistake. The best honey is the one which is like slowly pressed or dripping honey. And the best method is to have a sterile container, and then you have a frame. Then you make like small pouches, how do you call, like you sting each cell of the hexagon of the comb.
You need to open up the cappings.
Yes, but you do it not brutally, like classical, like all of them once. Just in each hexagonal cell, you make one small, or let's say like two small holes, and the honey will drip slowly here, and the contact of honey with air will be limited. And this is the main problem in centrifugation, because in centrifugation, a small amount of honey is spread with big force on the internal wall of this cylinder, and the honey is exposed to huge amounts of air, and air contains oxygen, and oxygen oxidizes. So a part of the polyphenols of the honey, which are antioxidant, are destroyed by this oxidation. It's not a strong oxidation, but still it's an oxidation. The other bad thing is that in the air is not sterile. The air in an apiary, where there is the centrifugation room, the air is full of microbes and spores and viruses. If you ask a physician, no, not a physician, a physicist, how many dust particles are in the air, they will tell you that in 1 cubic meter, there are like 200,000 to 400,000 dust particles. So practically, the beekeeper doing centrifugation oxidizes the honey and contaminates the honey. If you ask also the specialists in microbiology, they will tell you that on these dust particles, every third, fourth dust particle may have a virus on it. So it's really a contamination of the honey. And the third very bad thing which is happening, because of this huge contact surface with the air, the honey loses a lot of aromas, a lot of essential oils, a lot of perfumes. And these essential oils are very powerful antimicrobial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory. And when you take a honey as it is very fresh from the beehive, from the honeycomb, the taste is wonderful, the aroma is wonderful. But the same frame, when you make centrifugation and then you put in the jar, is not anymore so aromatic. Yeah. So the problem for apitherapy is that if you have this excessive centrifugation, and if the beekeeper also is using a lot of smoking, the quality of honey will diminish, and as a result of this, the healing effect will not be so powerful. So you lose time, and this is not good to have it, yeah, to lose it.
All right, I have to interject a couple of quick things here. And that is, if you're a commercial beekeeper with 1,000 or 10,000 hives, it's probably not realistic that you can harvest honey that way. But if you have a few hives, it sounds like maybe this is something that you can do.
Can I give the counter-argument to this?
Yes. Yeah, please.
Yes. So when that commercial beekeeper will get for his honey, let's say 20-30% more money than before, he will find the technical solutions. And the human mind is unbelievably creative. Now imagine that instead of having these complicated machines with like pushing the frames one after another, and then the uncapping, and then centrifugation, there are so many operations. Here will be just like acupuncture. Imagine a table like with thousands needles, which looks upwards, and you make a system where you put 100 such frames on top of this system with 1,000 needles, let's say, and then just a short tuck, all of them once, then a bit like this, and then you replace all this needles part with the containers, and then you do some other things. Of course, the dripping of honey will not be so fast like going out of the cells, but the time to do centrifugation and also to wait then 3 days for the air to go out of the honey, and then you put the honey into the barrel. So like if you compare 3 days with maybe 1 hour, it's a big difference. The other problem of the quality of the honey, in medicinal beekeeping, we need a honey which has almost no bacteria. And now, to be very, very sincere, if you ask 100 commercial beekeepers, you ask them, how do you start centrifugation? Let's say at the end of the season, you got 1,000 beehives and you want to do the centrifugation. So they use these centrifugation machines, and normally, after each centrifugation in the evening, they need to sterilize the container, to wash with hot water and sterilize it. And then ask them to be very sincere, how many of them are doing every evening this cleansing of the machine inside? Maybe 1 in 20. So what is happening? So they do day after day centrifugation in the same centrifuge without cleaning it every evening. And as a result of this, if you make microbial analysis in the first day, and let's say after 10 days, the amount of microbes in the honey grows. Because the dust, which are dust particle I told you, they contaminate the honey. So there are many arguments. So my advice, because we are on this topic, to the commercial beekeepers, at least for their own health, for their own family, let's say they have 1,000 colonies, they can put aside from this 1,000 colonies, let's say 50 colonies, to make for apitherapy, for health, for their own family. And then they'll get step by step accustomed, comfortable with these other systems, and then they will expand.
It may seem early, but right now is a great time to order your live bees for 2026 because they do sell out, and because Mann Lake is offering a discount for Beloved Podcast listeners. Wait, what? I know you're saying live bees, they never go on sale. Well, they are now. Click on over to Mann Lake, order your bees any variety, nukes or packages, and anything in the beginner essentials category. And when you check out, use the code GETSTARTEDINBEES, it's down in the show notes so you don't have to remember, for a discount on everything. So get your orders in early and save.
Yeah, just to give an incentive about the prices. You know very well, all American people, all beekeepers all over the world, they know now about the Manuka honey model. So Manuka honey, a normal honey, I would say, a bit more different substances there, but it's a normal honey. And still, the final price of Manuka honey in Germany, in Manuka honey in form of tube, like 20 grams of Manuka honey, medicinal honey, it's 40 euro. So 20 grams, which is a soup spoon. So if you make the calculation, it goes to 2,000 euro per kg of honey. Okay, so why not to go into this direction? And because the health, again, is much more important than simple nutrition or simple food.
Yeah, it's great marketing.
Yes.
Manuka people, it's fantastic marketing.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Propolis.
Okay. Now, with the Propolis, it's also a huge topic. The best things in the mind when you explain also to the patients, to the customers, to everybody, you need to start from the plants which are producing the resin and balsams, which the bees collect to make their own propolis. Now, here is an interesting correlation. The trees which are making these resins and balsams, or the shrubs, mostly trees and shrubs, they are fixed living beings. They have the roots and they cannot move. And it's a funny kind of saying, when a tree has a disease, cannot go to the hospital. So it cannot go to the neighbor to ask for help. So what needs the tree to do when it has a disease, bacterial, viral, and so on? The tree must produce its own remedies, okay? So, and the trees are on earth for millions of years. So they went through all these glaciations and all this huge amount of years, and they were constantly attacked by other living beings like bacteria, fungus, parasites, even viruses. You can say that it's a partially living being for millions of years. So the trees, they developed a method to defend. And here is a very, very interesting aspect. If you compare the trees in the pharma industry, the trees are much, much more clever than the pharma industry regarding the antibiotics. The pharma industry is using antibiotics based on only one molecule. The agriculture industry uses also one kind of insecticide, one substance. And when you attack an insect, or you take a microbe or a virus with only one molecule, if you keep in mind that the bacteria, for example, has thousands, hundreds of thousands of different molecules, and the bacteria are very intelligent at their level, they speak together, they communicate together, they create all kinds of defense mechanisms. So one molecule, it's a big mistake. If you look, maybe, in the past, it was a substance, an insecticide called DDT, and it was against the Colorado bugs. Okay, so now you can use 1 ton of DDT and the Colorado bugs are laughing to you. So what is doing Mother Nature? Mother Nature, in the last millions of years, when they are attacked, the tree is attacked by viruses or bacteria, they create these protective substances around the buds and also on the bark inside and also inside the leaves. And there is a cocktail of substances, extremely, extremely complex, with hundreds of substances, different substances, which are destroying the viruses, bacteria, fungus, parasites through different mechanisms. Yeah, so this allows the trees to survive. Of course, sometimes there are bacteria or viruses which are very aggressive and may destroy some of the trees, but they will not destroy usually all the forests or all the trees. And now the incredible part about this, I read a study made in England. They analyzed this cocktail of substances which are protecting the buds to various poplars, because they understood, the beekeepers understood that the bees, they like to go to poplars, to the black poplars. The Latin name is Populus nigra. And then they went to analyze the buds, the composition of these buds, like it were, let's say, 10 poplars in a row. They analyzed the composition of these buds, poplar number 1, number 2, number 3, number 10. And when they analyzed the laboratory, they were surprised to see that there were differences from tree to tree. It was not the same standard substance like pharma industry is using with the antibiotics, okay? And then the even bigger surprise was when the same team of researchers, they went next year to the same area, they analyzed again the composition of these poplar buds, and then they saw that the same tree, which last year was having a certain composition, this year, like next year, it was another composition. So the intelligence of the trees is, in order to fight an enemy, I need multiple weapons, I need multiple strategies, and I need to change these strategies every year. Yeah. So the bees, which are also attacked by bacteria, virus, fungus, parasites for millions of years, of course they need to have also this protection. And because they have a smell, extraordinary smell with their antennae, like 100 times better than the dogs, they smell and they analyze the nature around, and they found out the best sources of such substances. And then they collect these resins and balsams, and then they make their propolis inside the beehive with adding some beeswax inside. So propolis, if you see it from this point of view, you understand that propolis is very good and has protected the bees for so many years. There are some very, very interesting research now in Minnesota, I believe, is Professor Marla Spivak. She showed that a beehive which has more propolis inside is healthier, has less varroa. So this is another element here. And then the beekeepers, during thousands of years, not hundreds of, but thousands of years, they understood that propolis protects the bees. And this was the beauty they started to use for their own health. So now we have a huge industry on propolis. There are over 30, 40 different types of formulations. Like you have eye drops, you have capsules, tablets, nose sprays for ears, for the stomach, or even intravenous you can do propolis extracts, water extract, alcoholic extract, or oil extract. So it practically for every anatomical part of the body, we have a special preparation. And then for the good doctors who are using apitherapy, using propolis, the art is to use the right amount, to use the right administration form, like through what anatomical way. And usually there is like a golden rule. When you use more anatomical ways, you administer the product through more anatomical ways, you have a faster healing.
Let's say that a beekeeper, they have their own bees and they want to, from a practical standpoint, use propolis or honey for their own personal health for their family. What kinds of things would it work for? And I should have asked you this about honey before we moved on. We'll come back to that. But for propolis, what do I use it for? Is it for a sore throat? What's it for?
Good question, very good. So for the beekeeper, the best kind of extract of propolis is the hydroalcoholic extract, which is called the tincture. And if you look all over the world, all countries, they use propolis mainly in this form. And this is correct because the scientists, they found out that in order to extract these polyphenols, the best solvent is alcohol. My suggestion to your listeners is not to take those recipes from 50, 60 years ago, because it was a recipe like something like this. Like you take 20, 30 grams of raw propolis and you put in 70, 80 milliliter of alcohol, and you put in a dark place and you let it there stay for 3 weeks, and then 3 times per day you do this shaking. Okay, so this is the old system. Now there are modern methods to get the extraction of propolis not in 3 weeks, but in 1 day, even in 1 hour. So these methods are based on the concept of, like funny question is, in that old books, it was written 3 times per day you should shake the solution. And my question is, when I'm giving lectures, is why only 3 times per day? Well, why not 10 times per day? Why not 100 times per day? Why not 1,000 times per day? Why not to use a machine which makes non-stop this movement? Okay? So when you combine these kind of machines which are moving non-stop the solution, of course the contact between alcohol and propolis will be better, extraction is better. And now there is another modern method, a very good one, faster than this one, which I'm telling you, is there are devices called ultrasonicators. The ultrasonicators are devices where you have like a water bath, like a container, and below here is the electrical part which heats the solution. You set the heating, how much you want to be the solution heated, and then you can have also activated with a button the ultrasounds. So the ultrasounds are making this movement of the molecules, and the heat also is the Brownian movement at the molecular level. It's also much, much faster like this because of the heat. So with this method, you can get an extraction of propolis maybe in 1 hour. And when you know that the extraction is finished, when you see that the solution has the same color, it doesn't change the color, like before was alcohol was transparent, propolis was here and here. So when the solution, the color is constant, and also when the taste of the solution is constant, it's normally it's finished the extraction, yeah? Okay, so you get this tincture from this water bath, and then there are several situations here. So first of all, it depends on who is taking the propolis. The tincture is to take it. If it's a strong beekeeper, has not special diseases, it's no problem to take the tincture in some honey. Let's say 10 drops of propolis tincture in a teaspoon of honey, and then prepare separately some tea, and then they can take it directly. But if they want to treat the child or the woman, let's say the woman is pregnant or somebody old in the family, the alcohol from the tincture may be too strong. alcohol, there are now studies, they say that alcohol in any amount is not good for the body. In this situation, we have the propolis tincture, like I have here this propolis tincture, and then I will put drops, one drop here, one drop here, one drop here, one drop here, so small amounts on a sterile plate, and then I wait for the alcohol to evaporate. So once the alcohol evaporates, and this is very simple, I don't need a special laboratory, then I can get this extract, if you say, like it's called soft propolis extract, with some honey, some crystallized honey, or a piece of bread or some cooked rice, and then you can use it internally. This is the easiest way to do it, but there are other ways to do it. If there are people, for example, in the family, somebody who smokes a lot, somebody who has the skin is very dry, they have less fats in the body, the alcohol tincture will be a bad idea. But if you make the propolis tincture, you do not use the alcohol as a solvent, but you use oil, like olive oil, sunflower oil, pumpkin oil, argan oil, any oil which is cold pressed, then you get a oil propolis extract. Yeah. So this one you can use in the nose, you can use in any surfaces where the alcohol is not recommended, like genital area, for example, or you can make preparations in form of like suppositories or ovules. There are hundreds of possible applications here. And now to give you in what kind of diseases, the list is huge, Eric. It's huge. So I researched the literature, scientific literature, all Apimondia congresses, all the books in over 60 countries where I visited. And if you take, it's like at least 500 diseases. If you take just one thing, propolis has about 70 useful properties. And let's say we take only antioxidant, or you take only anti-inflammatory, then if you remember on the names of diseases, all diseases which have as a word the last letters of the disease is itis, like conjunctivitis, rhinitis, glossitis, otitis, esophagitis, pharyngitis, gastritis, whatever, enteritis and so on, all itis, all inflammations. And propolis is excellent as anti-inflammatory agent. Why? Because propolis attacks simultaneously many causes which create inflammation. So if the inflammation is caused like fire, like free radicals, like smoking, or heat, or a burn, propolis blocks very quickly the free radicals. There are hundreds of studies which says that propolis is antioxidant because it blocks the free radicals. Then many other inflammations are given by viruses, and propolis is antiviral. Other inflammations are given by bacteria. Propolis is antibacterial. Other are given by fungi. Propolis is antimycotic, antifungal. Or it's parasites, malaria and so on and so on, giardia. Propolis is also antiparasitary. So when you have this combination of antioxidant plus antiviral, antibacterial, antimycotic, antiparasitary, practically at least 80% of the inflammations you can reduce, you can eliminate them. The only other big cause of inflammation is trauma. When I have a trauma, a hit, bone fracture, whatever, there are cells which are destroyed. And then in this situation, propolis helps also, but through other very interesting mechanisms. When you have dead cells in a certain area, like after bee stings, for example, there are special cells here under the skin or in the tissue, which needs to clean the area. They need to practically to eat the dead cells or the bacteria if they are there. And these cells are called macrophages, and some of them are so neutrophils or dendritic cells, but macrophages are the most important. Now, if you give propolis to this area, but also you tell the patient to swallow propolis or to inhale propolis in form of solutions for nebulization or aerosols, then these macrophages get more power and then they'll clean faster the area of dead cells. And cleaning faster that area, this is wonderful because the risk to get infection there will decrease too. So the healing time will decrease too. We can speak on propolis, Eric, 1 week. It's not finished. Yeah.
I can tell any of these topics we could speak on for 10 hours. And so we'll
Yes.
try to, listeners, we will try to keep things as practical as we can. And we hope to at least touch on, besides honey and propolis, royal jelly, wax, beehive air, bee venom, definitely, bee bread, bee pollen. Let's, Dr. Stefan, let's jump back to honey for just a minute. How should I use honey medicinally? And by the way, I recently had experience using it on a burn. Why don't you tell us about that and some other things to use it for? Thanks again to Dr. Ștefan Stangaciu. In part 2, we'll dive deep into treating burns with honey, bee venom therapy, and a whole bunch more. Until then, be sure to follow, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bee Love Beekeeping, presented by Mann Lake. And a shout out to Vita Bee Health for their support. Vita's Varroa control range of products includes Apistan, Apigard, and now Viroxan, extended release oxalic acid strips. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, see you next week.